What is going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. Welcome to Steelers Almighty. This is the pre-game live before the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just touching base with you guys for a few minutes. Obviously, this will be something that we do before every single game, an hour before kickoff. Preseason, not necessarily an hour. And we don't go that long. Just, again, getting fired up for the football game. Look, tonight, I want to see some execution, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see the Pittsburgh Steelers go out there and execute in the run game specifically. I want to see the Steelers be able to run the football a little bit. I was watching some football earlier today. You know, the Raiders, Ashton Genty last week, he had negative yard, 3 carries, negative yards. Turned it totally around today. So, which means his offensive line was doing some work. He was doing some work. I want to see the same type of improvement from the Pittsburgh Steelers in the run game today. I don't want to see, 4 carries or 5 carries for 17 yards. I'm not with that, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see some production out of the run game. And again, I understand it's all going to be vanilla. Totally understand. But you know what? As professional football players, sometimes it's just mano a mano, and you got to move a guy, against his will. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to see, like I said, 5 for 16, 17 yards. I need to see something out of him. Now, people were panicking at last week, saying he's a bust, he's not good. And I'm like, man, if you paid attention, there wasn't a whole lot of running lanes and running room for him to get a whole bunch of yardage, So a lot of this is on the offensive line. Now, offensive line's been good in pass protection. Basically, for the last 3.5 weeks, the line has been really good in pass protection. Okay, well, now we need to take that and translate it into the run game. And we need to be able to see the Steelers do well in the run game. Like I said, I'm not saying they need to run for 200 yards in the first half or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But execution. That's what this preseason is all about. Teams are pretty vanilla, and I want to see some execution out there. Let's just get after it a little bit. I want to see Roman Wilson continue to make strides. I want to see what he can do again against other competition. Seems that he had an okay day in the joint practice. Well, let's translate that to in stadium under the lights when against live bullets in a game setting. I know it's not an actual football game. This is as close as he's going to get until a real game. So I want to see what he can do. But I'm excited about that. I want to see the defense take another step, shut down all the running lanes. But I want to see the D-line get after it. I don't want to see the Steelers blitz a whole bunch. We can save all that for the regular season with exotic blitzes and all that kind of stuff. We can save all of that, man. I want to see the front 4 or the front 5 get after them in a passing situation. That's what I want to see. Go get after the quarterback. Cause havoc. Be disruptive. That's this kind of stuff that I want to see, man. I think this is an important football game for a lot of people. I think Benny Bishop has to have a bounce-back game. I really do, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is pivotal. I know there's 2 secondary guys hurt, and it appears that Benny Bishop has a spot on the roster locked up. I don't want him to feel comfortable, to be quite honest with you. I don't want him to have that type of comfort level. I want him to be stressing. I want him to understand there's pressure and then go out there and perform. That's what I want, because that's what it happens on game day. There's pressure, and you have to go out there and perform. Well, I don't think there's any more pressure that can be put on somebody than you're fighting for your life for your damn job. So I like that Benny Bishop is in this position, and I want to see him fight and go perform. That's what I want to see. So I think he's got a lot to prove out there. Other wide receivers, I know there's a ton of buzz about Rock Taylor. Doesn't appear at this time that he's moved up the depth chart at all. Maybe we'll see some of that tonight. Maybe we'll see if he's moved up or somebody else has moved up the chart. So those are kind of the stuff that I'm looking for out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just looking for a lot of execution, stopping the run, getting after the quarterback. I want to see the Steelers run game with the first line offensive line. I want to see them run the football. I know we ran the football a little bit at the end of the game in the fourth quarter last week. Let's just be honest, people. Those people aren't making the football team. That's not happening. Okay. I want to see the frontline guys execute and move the football on the ground. I think we need to see that. I think we need to see that and continue to protect. Continue to protect. So I just that's the stuff that I want to see tonight, man. I think it's really important. Whether the Steelers win or lose, to be honest with you, obviously we want to win, but there were some people that were freaking out about whether we won the game last week or not. I'm like, man, it's preseason. And at the end of that football game, 98% of the guys that were in at the end of that game are not going to be on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So why stress about a preseason game when those aren't going to be the guys? Don't get me wrong. We're Steeler fans. We want to win every game. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that. I just want to see execution. That's what I want to see, man. I want to see execution. So, my man Mason with the super chat said, I'd like to see Caleb Johnson going against a front that's used to seeing a zone blocking scheme and see how he adjusts and plays off of them. I mean, I don't care what the front looks like. I really don't. I just want to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers front line offensive line can do. I don't care what the front is. 3-man, 4-man, 5-man. As far as D-line is concerned, I really don't care. I just want to see them execute blocking. Whether it's zone, power, that part I don't care about either. Because it's the Steelers aren't going to just run zone blocking schemes every single time they run the football, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to run some power as well. So be used to that. Don't just think that everything is going to be an outside zone when the Steelers decide to run the football. That's not what's going to happen. And it shouldn't happen. It absolutely shouldn't happen. So that's what I'm looking for. And again, I want Caleb Johnson to look more comfortable out there. And maybe he was just super nervous last week. Maybe he's getting his feet wet this week, but that's what I want to see. I want to see it. So appreciate you all that are in the chat, man. It is game day, Concept. It is game day. But execution is the key. Execution. How you doing, Felicia? But execution is the key tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is the key. No, let's not mistake ourselves into thinking first, health. That's the main thing. We got out of last week's game. Everybody was healthy. Okay, great. Same thing this week. The most important thing, get out healthy. Get out healthy. And then after that, let's see some execution on both sides of the football, starting with the trenches. Let those big boys, let's see them execute on both sides of the ball, and then we can go from there after that. So Lucas asking a question about Tyreek Hill. Appreciate the super chat, man. Yeah, maybe. Anything's realistic in the National Football League. Anything is realistic, Lucas. So the Steelers have the room. His contract is structured in a way like he's not going to count that much against the salary cap. The Steelers could afford him if they wanted to do that, but it would be like a 1-year rental. That's the thing. It's like Tyreek Hill's not going to be here long term because of the way that his contract is structured. The Steelers would have to owe a ton of money, on the back end of that deal, but they have an out after this year. So that might be something the Steelers may want to do. I don't know. But that didn't really have anything to do with tonight, though. So that didn't have anything to do with what we need to see tonight. I guess indirectly it might, because if the receivers look terrible, well, then it's like, okay, let's go get a guy. But we got to see him play better. There's no doubt about that. We need to see him play better. We need to see Roman Wilson play better, because the starters tonight, again, it's Roman Wilson, Skoranek, Scotty Miller, Robert Woods. I would love to see one of the younger guys get an opportunity. I would love to see them get an opportunity with the first team and see what they can do. You know, put them out there against some frontline defenders and see if they've got what you need. Let's just see what can happen. That's kind of what I wish would happen with the wide receiving core. But maybe the Steelers have already seen enough and are like, no, we're done. We're moving on. So I hope that isn't necessarily the case, but it very well might be, people. It very well might be. Don't forget, we're going to be live streaming the game just like we were last week. So make sure you guys show up. We will be right back here in less than a half an hour. We'll be watching the game live, talking about what's going on in the football game with everybody. Matea, appreciate you becoming a member, man. Thank you very much. We appreciate you supporting the channel. So what are you going to use to watch the game? Well, we watch it on NFL Network. We'll see if we can do it again, Angel. We'll see if we can watch it on NFL Net or NFL Plus, I should say. Last week, it was about 45 seconds behind. So we're going to try it. And if it works, great. If not, we'll stream it on something else because that was pathetic last week, what NFL Plus. I'm assuming too many people complained and maybe they fixed it. So hopefully they fixed it. We'll find out. But even if it's behind early, we'll get it fixed. So be patient. Make sure you guys show up though, because we're gonna have some fun over there. Talking about obviously the football game, but everything else. So be lively in the chat. Be in the chat. Talk about what you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it all, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about it all. So make sure you guys show up for the game here in less than a half an hour. We'll be streaming live on right here. So you guys watch it. I'll watch it. We'll talk in the chat together, and we'll have a good time watching Pittsburgh Steelers football, ladies and gentlemen. So appreciate y'all joining us for the pregame. As always, again, this is something that we're going to do an hour before every single Pittsburgh Steelers football game this year. So make sure you guys always show up for that. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you in little less than a half an hour. So I'm looking forward to this football game, man. Want to see some execution out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Here we go.